Hey guys, Shadowz here. Welcome back to another Gears 5 video. Today we are going to be discussing 5 major gameplay changes in Gears 5, with the Gears of War franchise making its debut in 2006. With Gears 1 it's still going as strong to this day, being a series that has been around for 13 years now. Gameplay wise, Gears has never really made any changes or innovation on the current system of features within the games themselves, but with Gears 5 that all changes. The Coalition Studio sees it as the 5th installment in their series, being time to prove what new things and ideas that TC can bring to Gears, and just where these series can head in regards to everything from campaign to versus, new and older cooperative game modes in Escape and Horde mode, a UGC system so that the community ourselves can create our very own user generated content outside the official content drops from the developers in Escape, and then eventually Horde mode and versus multiplayer, to core gameplay changes that we will be focusing in on for this video. With every new Gears game, the new typical content and features like new weapons, characters, enemies, maps and game modes can all be expected. One thing the Coalition are fully focused on in Gears 5 though is innovating and modernizing the game and the core gameplay mechanics themselves, so that this new Gears feels like a 2019 release and not a old clunky game like Gears 4 was that it felt like compared to other games at the time, a game that may be released way back in 2010. There's been a lot of discussion and uninformed criticism that I feel like within the community will change with things being explained in a much better form, so we're going to be looking at 5 major gameplay changes being made in Gears 5. Firstly, beginning with one of the biggest changes in Gears 5, which has been a huge discussion point across the Gears community, with a lot of people being very vocal even though they haven't played the game themselves whatsoever. It is the new Inverse Omen and just how the new health system does work, replacing the traditional Crimson Omen that has been in the series, as I mentioned earlier, for 13 whole years. The new Inverse Omen is part of the innovated health system in Gears 5 that features not only an omen for damage like previous Gears games, but also 2 other health systems in there, being the Frozen Omen, which is to try and represent the new Frost system, and then you have the Stim Overshield, which is a new overhealth system in Escape and Horde mode only. This is one of the main reasons why the big change to replacing the old nostalgic Red Crimson Health Omen is happening, because TC needed a way to show the player all 3 different systems, maybe even at once, which all use the same Omen in their own way, which wasn't possible with the single Red Crimson Omen in past Gears games. The Health Omen works by firstly highlighting the direction that damage is coming from, which really helps us straight away by improving a player's awareness and learning how to react to certain situations much better, because just knowing what way the bullets are being fired from will definitely help out in the long run. Secondly, after a certain amount of damage is inflicted onto the player, the Health Omen will light up as a full image on the screen, with redness invading from the outside coming in. This stage looks to be when you're around half health at 50%. Lastly, the final stage of the Health Omen is where you are literally 4-pointed red at around 98%, as the redness spreads everywhere, leaving the centered Omen where the aiming reticles land, the only area that is clear to the player. After being executed or killed, the new Red Gears 5 Omen does appear on your screen within the pre-existing Inverse Omen to represent a death to the player. Next up, the second major gameplay change in Gears 5, getting deep into discussion of the new Inverse Health Omen. Gears 5 features a new frost system that ties into the winter cold theme of the game by having its very own blue ice omen that indicates to the player the percentage of frost completely separate from the percentage of health damage. Acting out similar to the Health Omen, the Frost Omen starts by again indicating the direction of where the frost is coming from. As the player is being frozen over time, the Frost Omen begins to inverse ice over the sides of the screen, which, just like the Health Omen, gradually over time, as more frost damage is inflicted, freezes over the player's screen in a Frost Inverse Omen, with the center being the only clear visible area again. Moving on to the third major gameplay change, we have the introduction of damage numbers in Gears 5, with the cooperative game modes being Escape and Horde mode, using characters with hero abilities and skill cards that do change the damage being inflicted by a weapon in game. TC wanted to represent it to the player in game as well, the amount of damage that they are inflicting onto the swarm enemies, because if you do activate a skill card that does increase your Lancer damage by 20%, let's say, being able to see that change transition into the game itself with a brand new indicator just helps the gameplay experience flow, especially of course in the co-op game modes. Similar reasons reasons for the damage numbers, the new health bar system, the fourth major gameplay change in Gears 5's campaign, escape and horde mode. Yes, health bars and even damage numbers aren't in versus multiplayer, don't worry. The health bar is a great indicator to the player the amount of health an enemy may have, or whether or not they have regen their health back to full. Health bars are super important and helpful for larger enemies in the game like snatchers and carriers, where those type of swarm enemies and creatures within Gears 4 felt just like bullet sponges, just because that information on the health wasn't available to the player. Lastly, the final and fifth major gameplay change in Gears 5 is the new hit marker system, introducing a huge innovation change that will finally allow people to realize that maybe they are missing shots and learn how to use the Nasher shotgun properly. 13 years is better late than never. Within Gears 5, hit markers are shown to of course reflect in-game when the player is hitting the enemy, but even more in depth when you hit the body, a weak spot like the head on the new Warden Swarm enemy, a headshot. TC have really gone out of their way to develop a new battle language system in-game that doesn't affect gameplay whatsoever and can be toggled on or off for those Gears fans maybe returning from the original trilogy or the past game, but be available to new and casual players out there who are maybe struggling at the game themselves and need a little bit of a boost in game, with the new HUD system being much more helpful than ever before. The Nasher shotgun has been an inconsistency of consistency since the dawn of time. Every Gears of War game, even since the original Gears of War 1, has had some sort of issues and problems with the iconic shotgun, but that's what has always made Gears of War's Nasher shotgun so fun to master in gameplay. One of the biggest issues is not with the Nasher in the game itself, but a lot of players' ideology, not understanding when they don't land a full shot and maybe miss a few pellets. They wonder why they didn't get the kill. Well, the Coast Studio have really gone out of their own way to improve the Nasher shotgun battle language in-game to players, that when you do shoot the Nasher at an enemy, you're going to be able to see the pellets that hit, forming the Nasher pattern. So now while using the Nasher shotgun in Gears 5 is most likely all about just learning the full pattern shape the pellets do make, that when they do guarantee a kill, it will be a lot easier to understand and recognize why enemy players don't die, because you're going to be able to see exactly whether or not you did hit the full pattern, if it's there, or maybe if you are missing a few pellets. Please make sure to leave me a comment down below telling me what you think. What is your guys' opinion on all of the new 5 major gameplay changes in the new upcoming Gears game? Huge shout out to a good friend of mine known as Nunez, who went out of his way to one of those Microsoft stores in America where Gears 5's new escape game mode was playable during the week of E3 in early June. Nunez, like every other Gears player out there, dived deep straight into the settings of the game, revealing all of the toggleable game options that were available on that Pacific developer build of Gears 5, being the following: minimap rotation, rotate the minimap with the camera facing; kill cam, show the killer's point of view after a death; automatic reload, automatically reload when a clip is emptied; button prompts, turn a button prompts on or off; tutorial hints, turn the tutorial hints on or off; multiplayer HUD, turn the in-game HUD on or off while in versus or horde mode; HUD damage numbers, show the numbers on enemies when doing damage in escape or horde; HUD health bars, show health bars above enemies in campaign, escape and horde; HUD hit markers, show an indicator on the reticle when hitting a target. So there you have it guys, full details on 5 major gameplay changes in Gears 5. Give the video a thumbs up and share if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I shall see you in the next one.